Hello Internet, this is Oleg and this is my tech review. Today I'm gonna talk to you about new MacBook Pro 16-inch. There's a lot of hype about that particular machine. People are actually excited about the new keyboard, faster performance and much better overall experience with the Apple product with the new MacBook Pro. The reason I'm doing this clip is to actually validate if that machine can replace my trash can Mac Pro. It's pretty solid, it's pretty old as well. It's got memory upgraded to 64 GB, and for now it's been my main daily driver, and that's machine I'm using to actually get all the things done. The big question is it worth it to actually upgrade? I hope it is, because it's pretty much outdated hardware right now, if you ask me, but from the practical point of view, do you have to actually dump your old Mac Pro trash can, especially after you put some money into it and upgrade it to high config, and switch over to the new 16-inch MacBook Pro? And if it is, what is the optimum config for guys who are doing videos, guys who actually doing a lot of YouTube stuff and working on the export and transcoding on different video files on 4K or even 8K. So let's see how that's gonna stand the challenge between the two machines and see who's coming up as a winner and what would be the optimal config. Sit down, relax and enjoy the experience. I'm gonna do lots of tests here, starting with the practical ones for Final Cut Pro, because I'm a Final Cut user myself. So we do export for the clip which I've done recently about battery replacement on MacBook Air, and that clip is like 13 minutes long with some effects, with some of the graphics introduced, some motions and stuff like that. Normal average clip. So we'll see how fast one machine will go exporting it as a 4K clip and how fast this Mac Pro will go exporting exactly the same file. So let's see. Okay, so here's the box. Right now Apple got a good idea here. If you open it up, you just pull this thing and it will go like that. Should have worked, but it didn't. That's fine. Just remove the plastic. And that would be our computer. So open it up. Okay. And here's the computer itself. So just lift this. It's significantly heavier than the previous generation 15-inch MacBook Pro. But that's the whole idea, because this machine got a bigger battery right now. It's 100-watt battery, which is the maximum which you can bring over on an airplane, and that's the whole thing about it. Like, it's supposed to run very long time, and you can take it on the go without worrying that the battery will deplete fast. Also, you got USB-C to USB-C cable, which is very nice to have. There is a documentation which standard for Apple, and that's the interesting part right here. That's a power brick, which is also 98, I think. 98-watt power brick, which should charge this machine relatively fast. I'm gonna restore Final Cut on this machine, set it up, and put a project which I recently done for the repair of MacBook Air. And then I'm gonna run the same compilation and actual export of the video from Final Cut Pro, from MacBook Pro, from this one, from new one, and also compare it with the timing which we took for Mac Pro to actually export the same video. That video is going to be linked right in the corner, so you can click on that, check it out. It's very easy to do. So as you see right now, the memory and CPU on the graphic cards are completely thin, so 100% used. And on this particular version of the MacBook Pro, we only have 4 GB of memory. Yeah, so I have DDR4 16 GB, and the memory on the graphic cards is only 4 GB. So that's what I have on this configuration. So we're gonna change that potentially to have a machine with this 550M Radeon Pro card, but with 8 GB of memory. And also the total capacity for the overall memory I'm gonna have to update to 32 GB. So that would be a better configuration. But for now we're just gonna test and see if that would actually make sense. Let's see how fast that's gonna go. So that's 1 minute already going.
and yeah, the memory on the card is still 100%, and Final Cut is doing much right now. So all the CPUs are moving, all the cores, 8 cores on this machine. This is i9 CPU, and all the cores are moving like around 35%. So unless you don't have this bottleneck, having more CPU will not make much sense, right? So if you're gonna do compile and stuff like that, then it's fine, probably you're gonna need more cores. But for memory on video and video processing, if you do video processing and encoding or export for your video, then basically what you're gonna have here is this memory. If it's 100% all the time, this is your bottleneck. Even though the disk is here is very good as well, I have 1 TB storage of M2 SSDs. We're gonna look on a test for the performance speed test as well on this one later. But for now, I think let's just count the time and see how fast one machine will go and how fast the other machine will go. So that clip which I'm encoding right now is got some color corrections, some gray filters on top with the colorized on them as well, some effects, just regular clip, pretty much what I do. Got some titles, got some finishing credits and experts and stuff, and you can potentially hear the fans on the Mac Pro. They're speeding up, and I can hear them right now because the system is really working hard. Yeah, that's definitely way faster, even though the memory is a problem. So imagine how fast it's gonna go if the memory is not gonna be a problem on the graphic card. Alright, share is successful. As you can see here, there's a message. We are done on this guy here. So 8 minutes and completed. On Mac Pro is actually going very high. It's going 76 to 80% most of the time. CPU on those is being bombarded, as you can see as well. And that machine got 6 gig of video memory, 2 cards, Radeon D500 with 3 GB of memory on each of the cards. Those 2 cards are working simultaneously and helping to transcode the video and regular footage for video, which is coming mostly from my Canon 6D. The footage which I'm getting from the Sony camera is mostly 4K. Okay, so here's a compile of the same video with new upgraded configuration. This one got 32 GB of memory and 8 GB of video memory. As you can see, it's almost twice as fast from the previous compilation, which is very good. The disk test. I know BlackMagic is used for mostly actually to record the speeds of the write IOPS. So it's very good test, and I'm gonna select the target drive, which is gonna be my local drive over here, somewhere in downloads, that's fine. Open, and we're gonna go ahead with 5 gig files. Stress test. Alright, let's start and see what we can do here. 2200.5 megabyte per second, and well, read speed is actually high at 2341. As you can see, based on the BlackMagic disk test, this machine is suitable for all kind of workflows. Let's stop that and change it to 1 gig, to the smaller file size. Let's get that. And we're gonna go 2233, 2480, almost 25 on the read. Yeah, 25, yeah, that's much better. On a smaller block size, you're gonna have on this machine more megabyte per second throughput. So that's very good. So let's go ahead and run the BlackMagic test. Just fire this up. And I'm gonna run it against my actual external storage, which is connected through Thunderbolt 2 interface. That's AKITIO disk array with RAID5. And let's see how that's gonna go. That's a local disk. Yeah, that's a normal local disk on this M2 drive, which is I have on the standard Mac Pro. As you can see, you can do on writes only 600 megabyte per second, reads are solid, 1.3, 1.4 almost gigabyte per second, which is very good. Let's see how we can do on the actual storage array. So that would be select target drive. And I'm gonna go ahead and select this and run the test again. 368 megabyte per second and 900 megabyte per second on read. Not so bad, but could have been better. The reason for it is that's using right now RAID5. If you just do the stripe across, it's gonna be 1.3 gigabyte per second, but you will lose the protection on that disk. If you're using it just for export tool, like the export location for the clip that you can regenerate all the time, then it's not a big deal. If you have stripe set, one disk goes bad, the whole array will crash, but you can just replace it, reformat it, and use it again. So that would be one of the ideas. But yeah, you can see here the disks are way slower than what I got on internal disks on MacBook Pro. So that gives you an idea. If you want to go with a higher storage capacity on your MacBook, probably would be a good idea to get 1 terabyte of disk there and just have it as an export location for your clips. That way you can potentially use the full blast of the performance of the MacBook Pro. GeekBench got recently some of the criticism for the way we run the test. And the numbers are just calculated, sometimes very wrong, based on some of YouTubers. I looked on some reviews, and they're not big fan of GeekBench. But I'm still running that just to see the idea of the score, because we're gonna run exactly the same GeekBench with 64-bit Intel for MacPro and see how fast that will go. All right, and here are the results. 4000 on single core. 4028 and 28, almost 29 on multi-core. That's impressive. Alright, so here are our results. 3000 on single core and 17,300 on multi-core. Less than on MacBook Pro on both categories. This machine is running Intel Xeon processors. Here it is. E5 1650 at 3.5 gigahertz. The one on MacBook Pro is 2.2 and 2.3 gigahertz right now, so that's impressively better still on MacBook Pro, even though the clock speed is less. 3D modeling test as well, so we're gonna click just run here. This machine got currently more memory than in my MacBook Pro, because it has 2 cards with 3 GB each on board for Radeon 5 Pro D500 cards. But this test is mostly calculation on the CPU. So the more cores you have here, the faster it will go. And as you can see, CPU is being pinged right now at 96%. The only thing is, based on the graph, it's not using all the cores evenly. As far as I can see from this thing here, it doesn't show that all the cores are pretty much maxed out. So only primary cores are running most of the load, and the secondary cores are not running much. And probably because of that, it's pretty slow. Like to see how fast the graph is being populated here, the graphics. It's pretty slow. But again, that machine is from 2013, so what do you expect? At that time it was very good performance. Right now we have much more powerful computers available. Alright, and here's your score. So only 1289 points, as expected. You see here our CPU right now and on this graph over here, right here. So we are pretty low on the score for CineBench. Again, even though the high clock rate over here, 3.5 GHz on 6 cores on Xeon, would not make you the same performance as 2.5 GHz on i9 on MacBook Pro. The number of cores are more there. We have 8 cores. This guy is only 6 cores. But still, the higher clock should give you pretty much more performance on single thread. Questionable performance maybe on the multi-core, but on a single core it should go faster because the higher clock rate. But as you can see, the results are right here. We only got again 1289 on this score. And MacBook Pro is leading again with impressive almost 2900 points. Okay, this is another test. It's called BlackMagic RAW test and is measuring performance of the graphics based on CPU and graphic card itself. So where you see CPU is CPU based and metal is a graphic card. So as you can see, MacBook Pro is solid performance here. As for MacPro, you cannot beat really 2 graphic cards, so you will see metal on compression 12:1 and 8:1. It's got very solid results, but it's lacking on CPU performance. The new keyboard got separated Touch ID, as you can see here. That's actually matte finish and it's very good. And also it's got physical escape key. I didn't have issues with the normal escape key on the side of the touch bar, but this apparently got one of the requested features to get physical escape key. Because sometimes if the whole thing hangs, at least you will have still access to a key. Otherwise, if touch bar is not responsive, you're not able to actually click on escape. The other thing which I like is this trackpad. Trackpad is amazing. It's big and it's still holding the best place across all the laptops. Some manufacturers are actually getting closer to Apple in terms of the quality and satisfaction from the customers of the usage of the trackpad, but still Apple is #1 on trackpad. The ports on this MacBook Pro are actually 4 USB Type-C ports, so 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. And the display is actually amazing. It's a big and nice display. The front-end camera, that's the only thing which is still kind of old. And if you're using that, you're gonna be disappointed because it's still 720p. The thing is, what it's got actually better on top of all the other things is new microphone array. So all the things which we record on this particular clip, some of the clips get recorded actually using internal microphone array from this machine. Okay, so this is how the microphone and video camera looks like and microphone sounds. Hopefully it's much better than my previous microphone on Mac Pro, because right now it's updated Pro quality microphone array, which is installed on this computer. But the camera, if you have a proper light, as I just installed the light over here, it's not that bad. But as soon as you get the light off, it starts to get very bad. See, it's pixelating, it's not good at all. But yeah, Apple should have really installed at least 1080p camera over here to get it updated with a better aperture, so it will get low light much better. But again, it's if you really buy this system for the chatting with friends over FaceTime or Skype or whatever, right? Then you would need to get proper video camera on top of what you have here. Unless you're not really caring much, and if the video is fine for you, then this video camera 720p should be just perfect. That machine is not really about the camera, it's about the rest of it: performance, screen, keyboard, trackpad, much more faster graphics. That's what this system is about. Camera is kind of left off from this whole concept of Pro machine for now for Apple. If it sounds bad, just put it in the comments down below and we'll talk about it. But for now, I think it's one of the best microphone arrays available for the laptop. Alright, so let's hear that. The sound is actually amazing from this MacBook Pro. It's got pretty solid bass and like high pitch tremble as well. You can use it as a speaker in your room if you want. And it can get pretty loud as well.
Alright guys, that's it for today's review. As you can see, upgrade from Mac Pro to MacBook Pro 16-inch, it's quite justifiable if you actually engaged into production of video content, like YouTube, or you're doing something else more professionally, and that includes video or photo editing for that matter. MacBook Pro 16-inch, it's pretty solid computer, and it's actually going to be much better off with that machine versus the original Mac Pro. The new Mac Pro, which is like 52 grand in price, that's way off the budget, and for most of the people, I would say for 95% of the YouTube creators. And therefore, if you go ahead and still upgrade to 16-inch MacBook Pro, you're actually going to be in way position for the future updates, and with performance of that machine, you're going to be solid for the years to come. The other thing is, which I still kind of figuring out, is to how to connect all the IOPS in one of the docking station. The things which I found on Amazon are not pretty solid. You don't have two displays connected, because as you can see, I have two displays over here connected, and that's what I want to connect to my MacBook Pro. These are 4K LG displays, and for now I didn't find anything which is gonna be solid and there's a proper cable management, so I just want the dock station to connect to my MacBook Pro, and that's pretty much all I want to do. I don't want to connect individual cables like USB Type-C and stuff like that. So if you have something in mind, or you share, if you know what I can use, just put this in the comments down below. I will definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate your help on finding those proper dongles. Alright, so that's it for today's review for now. Thank you for staying with me till the end. If you like this video, you know what to do. Click subscribe, share, give us thumbs up. If you don't like, you also know what to do. Until next tech review, I'll see you around. Peace.